Today I've been off the grid for 6 weeks, and it's been kind of rough, but this is my cooking equipment. This morning I had pancakes. I use this pan to cook pancakes. This right here is what I cook beets in, and this is my indoor cooker. I just put 4 tea lights in there, cook rice and soups and different things like that in this. It works pretty good. This right here is what I first used to make my coffee, but some days it'd take, half an hour, 40 minutes to heat up a cup of coffee. And this is for like small meals. You put it on there and cook some eggs because it works pretty good. You just got to make sure that you get the flame going all right. Same with this one, you got to have the flame just right. But this little barbecuer, it's a little bit too big for me, so I'm going to make something smaller today. But this morning, like I said, I had pancakes, I had coffee, pancakes, and this is my lunch. See the steam coming off of that? That right there is rice with cream of mushroom soup or cream of chicken, one of the two. And I'm going to put some peas in there, but that's going to last all day. I'll just let it sit there and it'll stay warm all day long. It's probably, 9:30 in the morning. But I'm going to make a rocket heater. I call it a tower heater, but it's going to be a rocket heater. And this is what I'm going to use. Here's my solar oven. I'm not finished with it yet, but still got a few things to do. But I'm going to use this piece of tin, and that's what I'm going to use to make my tower heater. And some cans and different things like that. So we're going to see how it goes. So today I'm going to make a rocket heater, tower heater. This is what I'm going to use, this piece of tin right here. It's probably about 15-18 feet long, but I'm going to use like maybe 18 inches at the most. And I'm going to use these 2 cans for air, and I'm going to make a hole for wood so you can feed the stove. And this right here is going to be the base. I don't know how wide that is, maybe 9 inches, 8 to 9 inches. And we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I cut a piece of tin that was probably 18 inches long, and it was short, so I cut this one probably, somewhere between 24 and 30 inches. I made sure I got more than enough, and I'm using this right here as the base. So I got to turn this into a cylinder and tape it to this, and make sure everything's set up. Get ready to put a little bit of concrete. That's what it looks so far. I got the base connected, and hopefully I got the cracks sealed up pretty good, but it's dark in there. I've been using that thing to cook on, and I'm just going to put some cement in there and cover it up. But that's what the cylinder looks like. It's going to be called a tower heater. Some people call it a rocket heater. And we'll see how it goes. I've been using a lot of fuel on the mini barbecue, a lot of wood and stuff that really don't need to do. So I'm going to cut some holes in the side for the fuel and for the oxygen. I made some circles right here. I made one lower, and I really didn't want that one because I wanted it up pretty high to put fuel in. So I'm going to cut the top one out for the fueler. And this right here, this is going to be for air. I got one a little bit higher than the fuel, and one over here a little bit lower than the fuel. So we'll see how it goes. I put in 2 air vents. All I did is drill 2 holes close to each other and use some tin snips and went around in a circle. This is easier than what I thought it would be. But that's what the air is going to look like coming in. And I got another hole to drill for the fuel, the wood and stuff. But I got 1 vent lower than the fuel and 1 vent higher than the fuel. So it should get enough oxygen to keep it going. There's the fuel hole. I use this oatmeal container to make a pattern so I can cut that out. So that's where the fuel is going to go, through that and through the top, both. What I did is I took 3 grocery bags like this, put it in one of these mushroom cans, and just packed it in. put some tape over it. Looks like this. You know, that's a mushroom can. It's going to be for air. And after the concrete dries and stuff like that, the theory is it's going to be a thin wall of concrete. Maybe, maybe not. But it's going to be pretty easy to break. And we'll see how it goes. And then I got this cottage cheese container right there for the fuel. So after it dries, I can just pull that thing out, you know. And if all else fails, we can always burn it out for the first time. It'll burn, melt easy, and it'll be okay to cook, but I'm pretty sure it'll come right out. I just drilled 12 to 15 holes in each can, and it's going to be for air. Plus it's going to be a spark suppressant, so you know, no ashes and stuff like that can get through there, hopefully. That's what it looks like. It's got plastic in there right now, but the plastic's coming out after the cement dries. Hopefully it'll have enough holes in there, give it enough oxygen. I think it will. Well, this is it. I got like aluminum tape, I think it's called, aluminum heat tape or something like that. You can use duct tape or whatever to seal the holes. It really was a tight fit all the way around, but I just didn't want any cement leaking out. So you can see how that is. And now we got to start doing the inside. By theory, this should work. After it dries and stuff, should be able to take this cans out and take out the plastic sacks, and should be just maybe just a really thin piece of concrete. I could break that out, you know. But that's how it is. This is my inside right here. It's going to be the inside where all the heat goes. But I'm going to have it wrapped up in plastic right now. The theory is, after the cement dries, I can pull this piece of foam rubber out. I got this in the mail. You know, all this stuff is just junk, and it's probably going to cost me less than $10 to make this. I don't know how well it's going to work, but remember, always use safety equipment, you know, gloves and goggles and stuff like that, just in case, you know, because there's a lot of sharp objects. But I'm going to put plastic all the way around this and put it in. Put about an inch, inch and a half in the bottom right here for the base, you know, because you want to have a good base, good solid base. And then I'm going to put that tube of styrofoam in the middle. It's foam rubber, not styrofoam, I'm sorry, foam rubber in there with plastic bags around it. And remember, when you put this in, you got a hole in the middle. That way the foam rubber is going to come out pretty easy, you know. Because if you've got it rolled up tight, it ain't coming out. So just make sure you got a hole in the middle like this. So that's what the inside's going to look like. I'm going to put that in there and put some in around it. And hopefully it'll come out easy. We'll find out in a couple days. But you know, if you want to make something smaller so you can use it like a 5-gallon bucket as storage, you can always make one with put a paper towel in the middle. You know, have a full roll and put some plastic around that, and then it'll come out easy. Or coffee can, like some people use coffee cans. I've had this idea for a couple years, and I've seen some people use cinder blocks, coffee cans to make these rocket heaters. But this is my idea, and we'll see how it works. I'm going to use about 1/3 of a bag of cement. It's that ready mix stuff, and I don't know why you keep calling it a heater. It's going to be a tower stove. I keep calling it a heater, but it's going to be a stove. I'm getting ready to mix the cement right now, about 1/3 of a bag. We'll see how that goes. Get a little bit left. If it doesn't fill it up, I'll make some more. I just don't want to make too much. Well, that's what it looks like with the water mixed in. It's a little bit runny. But whenever you're doing concrete work like this, always make sure to check for leaks. I put something underneath just in case it started leaking. I don't want a big old mess everywhere. So I'm going to put about an inch, inch and a half in the bottom. And then I'm going to put this tube in there. Try to center it as good as possible. I put that piece of cinder block on there for weight to hold it down because it was starting to float a little bit in the cement. But I did something really stupid. After I started putting cement in it, I started pounding it down in there to make sure it's compacted. And that cottage cheese container came out. So I stuck that wire on there and pushed everything back in. It leaked a little bit. It's not as full as I'd liked it to be. And I'm going to put some 16 penny nails, I think 1/16 and about 4 or 5 8-penny nails around the edge. So it'll give me a little bit of heat for the heat to get out, you know, so I can put my pans and different things like that on it. But I couldn't believe I did that. I just wanted to compact, everything was good until I started pushing down in there and that cottage cheese container came out. So we'll see how that goes. I put those nails in there, so hopefully it'll harden up pretty good. Give it 2 or 3 days. It's not as tall as I wanted it to be, but I ran out of cement. So this thing here probably weighs 30 pounds at least, you know, right around 30 pounds. Because I had a 80-pound bag of cement and I used all of it, not all the whole thing. I used somewhere between 1/3 and 1/2, so I'm thinking somewhere between 25 and 35 pounds this thing weighs. But it works in theory. We're going to see what it looks like after it dries. But it's not as tall as I wanted it to be. This is Saturday, August 12th. It's been sitting here for, I don't know, 2.5 days. And it looks like it's dry. So I'm going to pull this foam rubber out and cut the wires and take the metal off and see how it goes. Yeah, it looks like an experiment and ready to happen, I guess. Good or bad, let's do it. That piece of foam rubber came out easier than what I thought it would. When it was drying, I'd take it and twist it around, you know, tried to loosen it up. But there is a little bit of plastic still in there. I figured there would be. It'll probably come out the first burn. So we got the hole made, and let's see about the rest of it. Take out the wires and get the tin around it. Yeah, I was worried about that cottage cheese thing when it came out. I figured there's going to be cement get behind it between the styrofoam and the cottage cheese container. I should have used something else. But that's what I get for trying to push all the cement down in there tight. So I think that's probably 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch thick. I'm going to drill it and see if I can't get it out of there without breaking it. Use a small drill bit to go around it. First I started punching holes in here and I thought, well, better not. So I started going around the edges, and it was pretty simple. You just use a small drill bit, I think 7/32 or something like that. Now I'm going to use a cold chisel to chisel that out and we'll see how it goes, but it drilled pretty easy. There are a couple of places I hit a rock, little small rocks, but I just moved over a little bit and drilled, but drilled easier than what I thought it would. That wasn't bad at all. Some of the thicknesses were somewhere between, I'm thinking less than 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, less than 3/4 of an inch, all the way down to paper thin. So it chiseled out really easy. So I got lucky on that one. I was hoping just to pull out that cottage cheese container and be a hole there, but I guess not. But we'll see how the air vents are going. Here's one of the vent holes, and I tried to get that can out and get the plastic out or whatever, but it didn't come out in one piece. I tried to use it like the old oil filter wrench, just put a screwdriver through it and twist it, but I just ripped the can open. But I took a pair of pliers and pulled it out. It came out fairly easy, you know, a little bit of a pain, but I got the same problem here as I did on the other side. So gonna have to drill some holes and chisel it out and see how it goes. So you can see the mistakes that I've made on this. So if you ever decide to make one of these, learn by my mistakes and then try to improve. That one there came out, the can came out one piece. I bent it up a little bit and then went around the edges with a screwdriver and pulled it right out. And the hole's already there. It's perfectly round. I'm just gonna have to put another can in there and put some holes in it. But first I gotta take off this tin, see how it looks. And then we'll fire it up and cook some coffee and some eggs. I took the tin off and got a hole right there for air. You can see it. And this right here is for fuel. And this other one's for air. And I got this thing for kind of like a grill type thing. So it saves on my pots and pans so they don't burn too much. But it's got some holes in it. It got a little bit of a gap so you can get some more air. But you know, if you wanted to run it like this, it'd be alright. But I'm going to put some cans on the side, put some holes in it. That's for kind of like sparks. So we'll keep the sparks in there just in case. But this is basically what the finished product looks like. And it probably cost less than $10 to make, but it took 3 days to do it, you know, dry up and stuff like that. But hopefully if you decide to make one of these, you'll learn by my mistakes. And happy cooking. And really it's small enough to put in a 5-gallon bucket. You know, if you want to store it for the winter, it's perfect size. Whatever size this is, I don't know how tall it is, but you can tell it'll fit perfect in a 5-gallon bucket. So if you make one of these, remember to keep pieces of your tin. That way you can use it as a feeding table, so you can feed the wood. And when you're done cooking, after everything cools off, you can take this piece of tin out and stick it down inside. Make sure you always wear gloves. And that right there makes easy storage. And it will fit right in a 5-gallon bucket. So this is my tower stove. People call it a rocket stove. Some people call it a rocket, but I call it a tower. And it's pretty hot right now. It's probably 90 degrees or so. But tomorrow morning I'll come out and I'll get it going and record and see how it really works. Give it the test. Okay, this is going to be the first burn, so there's probably going to be a little bit of plastic in there. I'm not for sure. But I'm going to heat up some coffee water. And that's how much is in there right now. After that gets going, I'm going to put these sticks in there. And we'll see how it goes. But what I do is I heat this pot up right here. And then I pour it into this one, because this one here takes a little bit too long to percolate. And then when it does, it's hotter than heck. So I put it in this, put the water in this, heat it up, and then pour it over the filter in this one. So we'll see how it goes. But this is gonna be the first burn. I'm gonna heat it. I'm gonna cook some eggs and tortillas for lunch. Boy, I can't believe it. That thing caught fire like you wouldn't believe. It hadn't even been 20 seconds. And all that kindling in there caught fire, so I'm going to take this pot and I'm going to put it on there. Whoa! So far I'm impressed with this. There's not too much kindling in there, but it's going fast. There you can see the flames in there. A lot of smoke. But this is better than this little mini barbecue. That wastes a lot of heat. Almost sounds like it's almost starting to boil already. Oh man, those things, I can't believe it. It's working that fast. Let me get this thing level over here. Boy. Can you hear that? Now that was fast. So this is a tower stove. Some people call it the rocket stove, and it does work like a rocket. But I think this right here, you can see some flames in there. It's sucking air and stuff, so it's doing really well. And I don't think it's wasting too much energy like the mini barbecuer. Mini barbecue wastes a lot of energy. But I'm going to give it a couple minutes, make some coffee, and then I'm going to put a pan on there with some eggs and green peppers. Well, here's my eggs with green peppers, bell peppers. I grew those myself. You still see the flame. I had to put a little bit more fuel in there because that small kindling, man, it burnt fast. So this should be enough to make 2 or 3 tortillas. But it's cooking pretty good. I didn't put the thing right there for the fuel tray because this is the first time I used it. I was in no big No big hurry to put in fuel on the side. But you can see how it's working. I'm pretty impressed with it. And the weight's probably 20 pounds, maybe a little over, 21, 22 at the very most. So it's big enough, and I figured out how to dump the ashes, but it's light enough you can take and turn it over. And if you want, you can probably take a hose and clean it out good and stuff like that for storage. But here's my tower / rocket stove, not heater, it's a stove. Let me see how hot it's not even hot enough. I'm putting my hand against it, and it's been going for at least 5 to 10 minutes, you know. And the bottom's pretty thick. So this is my video on the rocket stove / tower stove. Usually you'll have a tray right there for fuel. I'm just using it for oxygen. Well, here's my first meal with my tower stove / rocket stove. Have a cup of coffee, it's pretty tasty, and 3 tortillas with eggs and green peppers with ketchup. Sitting there under a tree with some shade and gonna enjoy my lunch. Thanks for watching my videos.